Hello and welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we look for value in the markets when there's fear and are cautious when there's greed. In today's video, I'm going to be doing an altcoin of the day special, and we are going to be taking a look at Chainlink. If there is an altcoin on Coinbase or Robinhood that you would like for me to take a look at, please comment below. I'm probably going to do a live stream this Friday, and I will go over some of those altcoins that you request. So please comment those below, and I promise to get to them in the future. As far as crypto fear and greed, we can see that crypto overall is popping back up into extreme greed. We've been in this downtrend, lower highs, lower lows from greed to fear, and now that may be reversing. So that's a possible good thing. As we go over to the path to alt season, when we see something like Chainlink doing well, we are looking for that rotation from Bitcoin into the other top altcoins. I think if I were to update this chart, I would include XRP, Solana, BNB, maybe into this top phase as well with how Ethereum's performing, and then getting over into the next large caps, stuff like Chainlink, AVAX, Doge, so on. So I think crypto each cycle's evolving, and it's not as cut and dry as just one top altcoin and the rest, at least as far as how Ethereum is performing right now. And then when we truly get alt season, we see many awesome altcoins pop off and some worthless ones, let's be honest. And that is the time to take profits and make some really good money. I've talked about this. Keep in perspective on the way to alt season. In those pumps, we're going to have many pullbacks, and that's okay. That's to be expected. Look for discounts in those areas. As far as the alt season index on the yearly, this has been in an uptrend for a while. Since October of 23, series of higher highs, higher lows. It hasn't popped off yet like it has in 2017, early 2018, in 2020 and 21 when we had the double peak in Bitcoin. So still waiting for this to pop off. I do have a thought in the back of my mind of whether or not it will, because more and more altcoins are created all the time, but we will see. Hindsight being 2020, by the end of this cycle, we'll be able to see how much higher, or if this is able to pop off as it has in the past. On my channel, I talk about Bitcoin, the crypto cycles, other altcoins, Bitcoin mining stocks. I even go over the stock market and its impact on crypto. I try to take into consideration, collect as much straightforward data about the markets and what is going on to try to give you my very best attempt at forming a hypothesis with good data, taking a look at the markets overall and seeing if we can find trends, similarities, confluence of what's going on in the market. So subscribe if you want to hear more about that. Let's get into Bitcoin and then Chainlink. All right, Bitcoin still above the 1618 macro fib. It is still climbing. This is very nice on the daily, and going over to the weekly, it did just have a buy signal not too long ago. Let's take a look at that. You can see the green buy signal a couple weeks ago. If we take a look at other indicators, let's take a look at the stochastic. That is crossing upwards as well, and that is also bullish. It doesn't always have to get oversold. This just says the strength is staying pretty elevated, and that is not a bad thing. So let's get over to Chainlink, and here we go. So as far as on the weekly, Chainlink does have confirmation with a weekly buy signal. I have Heikin-Ashi candles on, and so that is one way of helping us. Chainlink is at the 618. What was once resistance is now looking like support. Did have this big doji, long-legged doji, with buyers coming in off one of the 20-week moving averages right there. So that's good. If we add on the stochastic, curious what we'll see. If we add on the stochastic, we'll see that is also crossing up. So looking similar to Bitcoin in that regard. If we add on the ultimate RSI and take a look at this from a weekly and even monthly perspective, what do we notice here? At least as far as looking at the last cycle, we can see that the strength can stay elevated for pretty long. Now, this first started the spike in May of 2019, so that's a pretty long time here in November of 2023. But let's just measure it out. It doesn't have to be completely equal. So that was about 700 or so days that Chainlink had a nice bull trend. Now we did have a dip in between, but let's take a look at 700 or so days and where would that put us? October 25. So I've been going over macro data and looking at the arguments of when we could see a top in the crypto cycle. More and more data is coming out that's having me lean towards there being another 4-year cycle finishing in the later part of this year. You can see here December 2013, December 2017. The top was November 21, so 4 years. Even though alt season was here, there were alts that topped here, but the true alt season was right here. So more and more data that I see has me leaning towards end of the year. We'll see. All right, this is just RSI, and you can draw any comparisons, but nothing has to happen the exact same way again. And let's zoom out on the monthly, and you can see this isn't even in overbought territory yet with the ultimate RSI. All right, let's go over to the daily time frame. Daily time frame, what do we got? Looking at this looks an awful lot like a channel to me. I'm just doing this on the fly, guys. So if we just connect those two peaks and then go down here, yeah, pretty much looks like a channel in my opinion. And so this would be an area where I'd look for a Chainlink to encounter some possible resistance. And if it's able to break through this channel, you can see here it's pretty well connected with the higher lows and, or I'm sorry, the lower highs and the lower lows. You know, it depends. What do you want to connect those bottoms, or right here? I think there's more connection down here. So I'll give it this, is that there's still a little bit of room to run. Maybe Link gets up to around $28 before it gets some resistance, and then we'll see. But if it's able to get through, you'll notice Chainlink did not get through all the way to the 786 last time. If it is, the 786 at around $32 is going to offer some resistance. And then after that, the former all-time high at around $53. Looking at the daily, if it does get rejected off the channel, then you could see Chainlink coming back down. What moving averages has it like? The last time it had a downturn went to the 50 and then the 100. The 50-day moving average would probably be somewhere around $22-23. Of course, we have the 618 here at 21.5, and the 100-day moving average is kind of moving up towards 20. So if Chainlink came back down, got under 22 to 20, I think that I wouldn't hate dollar cost averaging at that territory. Of course, Chainlink has a market cap of $16.5 billion. Let's refresh coin market cap and take a look at where Chainlink is today. It is the number 11, just outside the top 10, the number 11 overall crypto as far as market cap. The higher market cap cryptos tend to be safer investments, tend to be, but outside of that, we have to temper our expectations of how much returns you are expecting from Chainlink. So if you're new to crypto, you're getting in today, you have to ask yourself, how high do you think Chainlink can go? Market cap, again, 16 billion or so, is not a magic number that can be whatever you want it to be. So if you're going to say 50 billion, 100 billion, why is that? What have you seen in prior cycles or in your research to make you believe that? Because I see a lot of crazy comparisons out there or predictions, and you need to have something to back that up. So if you're looking for a 2x Chainlink to $50, then you're making the argument Chainlink can have a market cap of around $32 billion. So $50 Chainlink would have a $32 billion market cap. That's one way of looking at price targets. Another way of looking at price targets would be to take your fib, and you'll see I drew my fib retracement from the high to the low. I'm trying to do this stuff so you all can do this at home too. If you can't replicate analysis or indicators, then in my opinion, you shouldn't use those, or just take them with a grain of salt. But if you take your fib off log, you can see here are some price targets. So remember, the all-time high around 50 billion, or I'm sorry, $50 had a $32 billion market cap. We just went over that, right? And that's about a 2x from where Chainlink is today. So if you believe Chainlink can get to prior all-time highs, you believe it can do a 2x. That's pretty good for anyone in the investment world. Do you believe Chainlink can do about a 3x or so and get to the 1618? Or how about Chainlink was $20 not too long ago? Do you believe Chainlink could do a 10x and get up here and have a market cap 150 or so billion dollars? That would be some of these fib extensions. Again, that's a question for you to answer. I'm not going to answer that for you, but here are some good Fibonacci price targets to look at. Personally, if we take a look at what Chainlink did in the past, let's zoom in here. This was the top in 2017. Look at that. Chainlink was only $1.40. So if you would have bought Chainlink at the top in 2017, you'd still be doing pretty well right now. And then you can see as it got to the top in 21, it blew out of the water those expectations, or even the fibs. You probably have to put some crazy number on the fib to even reach that high. But do understand that in crypto, each cycle we have diminished returns, and most altcoins, including Chainlink, becomes more devalued against Bitcoin as time goes on. So don't expect Chainlink to blow the fibs out of the water this time around. Maybe it will. I personally wouldn't bet on that. But one way you can take a look at that is just by going to Link against Bitcoin. And I've already looked at this before, but you can see that in the past, we've had these peaks. And right now, what do you see overall? The peaks in Link is falling against Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is doing better overall, retaining its Satoshi value than Link is. So you take a look at this in a couple ways, in my opinion. You can draw a trend line from these peaks and notice that it did break out as this cycle started to become bullish. You see here, this was November of 23 after this peak in June of 23. Let's go back and look at that. What was going on in 2023? Well, in 23, mid 23, this is when the accumulation phase for Link was done. And when it finally started to break out, it broke out of that trend line. You remember that trend line now, right? On Link Bitcoin, when it broke out of that, was the start of a new bull run. All right, so let's go back to Link Bitcoin. And you'll see as it broke out, these peaks are where the pumps happen. February 24, November 23, and then just recently in December of 24. So right now, I drew a fib from the recent low to high, and what you can see is that Link, it is right now at its 0.5, recently got up to the 618, is making, I guess you could say, higher lows, maybe higher highs. So I think there is some, if you draw a trend line from prior peaks and just stretch it out to the most recent peak, and yes, it's not perfect, but I'd argue it's close enough. If you draw a trend line there, that kind of runs right into where the 786 is. So when Chainlink starts to turn on the afterburners, I think you would want to see it break out of this 786 area. Not that the price can't stay high. It all depends what Bitcoin's doing as well. But once Chainlink starts getting up to the 786, 618 area, you want to see where the price of Chainlink is. If we go over to when Chainlink topped in 2021, let's just be absolutely sure here. It was in May of 21, right? We'll go back to Link-Bitcoin. Okay, May of 21 was this peak right here. So it doesn't necessarily have to break out of that trend line after it peaks. And so maybe we can draw some comparisons this cycle to what we saw last time. Last cycle, we saw Link valued against Bitcoin reach a peak earlier. then its all-time high. Okay, maybe that's this, and we are waiting for Link to get up to one of these levels, again, around the 786 or this trend line, and that might tell you where a top for a Link might be. So that's why it's important to have these charts as well, not just the USD charts, but also the comparison against Bitcoin. I do think there's something to be said for this, and I'd be curious the next time Link gets up to this trend line, is that going to be when Bitcoin is topping? Is that going to be when we are having alt season? I don't know, we'll see, but that is important data to consider. So that'll do it for today. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you own Chainlink? What are your personal price targets for Chainlink? How high do you think it can go? Do you like Chainlink? Do you not like Chainlink? And then again, please comment below if during Friday's live stream you would like for me to talk about any specific altcoins on Coinbase or Robinhood. Be happy to do that. Hope you all have a wonderful Wednesday. Have a great day.